evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order this regular meeting of the Natural Resource Board, Tuesday, March 5th, 2024. If we could, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Can we have a motion to approve the minutes from the February 6, 2024 meeting?
You gotta do roll call first.
Oh, I apologize. Thank you for that. Item 3, roll call, please.
Yes. Dr. Moseblack?
Here.
Ms. Billman?
Here.
Mr. Clifford?
Clifford, is that you?
Mr. Kress?
I'm here, yes.
Ms. Ware?
Present.
Mr. Carano?
Here.
And Mr. Stadelman?
I am here.
Thank you.
Wow, full house tonight. Thank you for everybody coming, and thank you for serving the city of Sebastian. Okay, if I move on to item 4, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from February 6th?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of February 6, 2024.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, can we have an aye for approval?
Aye.
Aye.
A nay to disapprove? Minutes are approved. Moving on, item number 5, we'll go to announcements. And Ms. Gordian, do you have any announcements for us?
Yes. So thank you all for being here tonight. Our first announcement is to welcome our brand new board members, Mr. Clifford and Mr. Kraus. Thank you both for being here and for joining us and supporting our efforts. And we look forward to working with you and getting to know you, and we look forward to helping you help us. Also, just to note, Ms. Dory Bosworth will be here with me tonight in place of Alex in case we are in need of any assistance. And Sarah will be joining us via Zoom tonight. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. For item B, Tulip Palm Project, our next planting event for the Tulip Palm Project will be on April 22nd. That's 26th. That's a Friday at 9 a.m. We will be planting the remainder of the plants for the Tulip Palm Project. So all the remaining upland plants, the shoreline plants, the littoral zone plants to finish out that project. And then the last step would be the implementation of the signage, and then we'll be closing out that project. So we hope that you all can join us for that event. If there's any questions about the information, please let me know. The sign-up info is on the city's website. And for item C, we have a new rule for all boards and committees, which is wonderful because this rule happens to coincide with our efforts. We will no longer be allowing plastic bottles on the dais. So if you want to bring drinks with you for the board meetings, of course, just bring, your own reusable bottles. And if you have any questions about that, please let us know.
I have one question about this. Does that also apply to the council?
Yes, this is for all boards and committees
across the board.
and council
Excellent.
as well.
Fantastic. That's great. Do you have any additional announcements, Ms. Gordian?
No, nothing further.
Ms. Bosworth, do you have anything for us?
No, but I'm glad to be here. Welcome.
Thanks for coming. We always like seeing you. I always think somebody's in trouble when you guys show up.
Just here for support.
I'd like to welcome Michael Clifford and Matthew Kraus to our board. Thank you guys for joining, and you picked a really good time. There's a lot going on right now. The board's very much involved in a lot of the local issues, dealing with the lagoon, dealing with with the water, dealing with the land itself. Pretty much whatever you're looking to do, you can do it here. And we really thank you for being here. Okay, moving on to item 6, agenda modifications. Does anybody want to modify the agenda tonight for anything? Okay, not seeing any. Move on to item 7, public input. Is there any public input tonight? Is there anybody on Zoom?
Nobody's raised their hand.
Thank you very much. See you way back there. Okay, well, moving on then to item 8, unfinished business. Okay, we basically are going over our Sustainable Sebastian initiative. If you guys haven't gotten your copy, I think they left you a copy right on your right in front of you. This is what we're really working on. This is pretty much our bread and butter and everything there. And it looks like reduction of single-use plastics is up first. That's me. Okay, I will go first. And I'm going to step down from dais, and Tom will make sure I don't overspeak myself.
Okay, the board recognizes Mrs. Stadelman to give us a presentation.
Thank you, sir. All right. Is there that little button, the control? Oh, I think I got it right here. Yep, got it. Okay, I'm just going to pick up from where we left off before. One of the biggest things that we're dealing with nowadays is the issues of plastic and plastic pollution. What we're finding, though, is it's a much larger problem than what we were led to believe. I don't know if this is working. It may be me, and I'll turn it on. All right, thank you. Okay, and there's been some enlightening things happen since we picked this up. I picked this up in end of December, and we started this last month. But the companies that continue to make plastic and plastic packaging, much of which is designed to be used once and then thrown away, they've been promoting heavily recycling or chemical recycling. We really don't feel that that is actually going to work either. It seems like all the plastic that's ever made is here. They've been making it since the 1950s, but it looks like we may have been deceived on how it could be reused and repurposed. A major lobbying group called the Plastic Industry Association has long known that recycling couldn't realistically manage the significant amount of plastic waste and have spent millions of dollars convincing the public otherwise. And this implies that chemical recycling or recycling in general is an extension of deception and raises doubts that it will contribute to the industry target of reusing or recycling or recovering 100% of plastic packaging by 2040. So most of the reports that I see are basically, they may or may not be deceptions from the large companies that are selling us this plastic. What I'm recommending to the board to move this up the ladder is I like to work on education, legislation, and litigation. So we can look at alternatives to plastics and single-use plastics, things like that. One of the problems that I've seen is it has to tie into the business models, and it has to tie into if it's sanitary, where did it come from, things like that. So it's real hard to get these into the businesses. And plus, are the consumers going to buy it? Is it branded? So you need to look at new ways to be sustainable. So the first thing we're going to do is educate the public. We're going to introduce them to circular business models. We're going to look at implementing extended responsibilities and life chain analysis of different products and such. But the biggest thing is dealing with what you've made. Do you know where it was made, where it's going to, and what it's going to end up? So the linear economy is basically right now we take it, make it, and then we throw it away. A circular economy, we take it, make it, and reuse it for something, whether it's designing it from the very beginning so that it can be rebuilt, like our phones is a good example of single use. If you notice, we buy a new phone instead of just upgrading it. We need to look at key ingredients for this business model, because places like squid lips or manatees, the places on the river that all sell, they need to create value. So the number one thing is they have to look at value, and what it should do is look at how the materials are flowing in and out. It has to offer services that the people out there are going to buy into, and then they have to work with other people that are also doing these things, different models out there, different other businesses that are doing it. So this way they look for and they offer options to their customers that come in, if they want a straw or not. That's just the start of it. Are they recycling the greases that they use? Is the chemicals that they're using for cleaning, does any of that leach into the environment? Are we looking at plastics every time we go out there? One of the biggest things what I'm going to ask is that we offer these to the companies as they come in to apply for their license. What I'd like them to do is to do an environmental study on their business. So this way, and just ask them if they've done it. Ask them if they have worked on this, if their business even knows what circularity is. But there is a lot that's going to go into it. The effort, we're already doing it. The money that it's going to take, time, and again, like I'm talking about legislative action. The reason why we're talking about legislative action is because they're already doing it right now. So a lot of it's going to come into that. So we're going to be developing these circular business models based on what's best for the environment, the company itself, what's going on with the political environment, and everything else. It's called PESTLE. So it's looking at what's going on in the political environment, what's happening, environmental laws, everything that's going on that they can develop value, but in a circular manner. Political considerations, economic considerations, what's happening out there in the social world. And I can tell you, I've tried to offer some of this stuff just in my business. So what I did was I started a new business. A lot of you guys know that, but I've done it for a couple of reasons. I did it to see what the process was. It's one of the reasons why I'm also here, is to see how that process is. So I started a corporation. And I can almost tell you, no one has bought anything from me because I'm planting trees or I'm offsetting their carbon for some other reason. But I definitely have to look at legal considerations and political considerations for everything that you're doing. But I've learned some lessons in all that. If the people don't buy into it, whatever we give them is just not going to work. So the PESTLE analysis framework can be given to them at the time that they do application for either an occupational license or as a corporation with the state. We want to introduce them to life cycle analysis. We just want to ask them, have you done a life cycle analysis? Do you know that your car is being made with 100% offset carbon and it's going to be recycled? Where can you make good, quick changes that can really make a difference? We're going to introduce them to be an ISO 14000 credentialed. That's really difficult, but at least they can get to those standards. They do the life cycle assessment, the LCA, just ask them if they've done that will change a lot about how a company looks at itself. And then we're going to look at supply chains. We're going to ask the city council to look at our supply chains and to ask businesses to look at their supply chains. Are they using life cycle analysis? Are they looking at other companies that are ISO 14000 like-minded? You may not reach that goal, but like they said, if you hit your wagon to a star, you'll reach the moon. So, excuse me. Environmental management systems, EMS is everything. This defines the roles and the responsibilities of planning, performance, and evaluation. So you set up this management system, it follows the ISO 1400 standards. These are all already in place. You'll get to that life cycle analysis, which is really super simple. You can do really inexpensive stuff. Focus on the quick wins. You got to get your employees and the people who are coming to buy in, and you want to set these goals eternally. So I would like these ideas presented when they apply for their license in Sebastian. I'd like the permission to talk to the city council about it. I'd like to be able to move it up the ladder first to the Indian River County level, to ask them if they're going to do a life cycle analysis, just to make them aware. Then we move it up the chain from county to state level, and that's really how I work, is where I'm at, and then up the ladder from there. That's what I'll be asking for. So this is a simple business model canvas. You're going to look at who you're partnered up with, who's doing the same thing you're doing. When you're starting a business, one of the things I looked at is my resources. What are my resources? Turns out I don't have a lot of resources, but I grew up here in Sebastian, you know. It's just one of those things. You want to see what type of value that your circular business plan for closing or slowing or getting rid of those loops of pollution, is there value there? What are you giving to the customers that are going to come in? Why are they going to buy from you? Those relationships are everything. The channels that you sell this stuff to. This is all right there laid out for it. We can hand this to somebody in one page right when they're doing their application, all the way up the ladder, right through the Department of Business and Professional Regulation, because that's how I got my S Corp. I had to apply right through the federal government. There was a structure there. So we can just ask them to fill out this. And this is all they're doing. They're just looking at basically what they're doing and how it's going to affect everything, including the environment, the people that are buying stuff from them. They're looking at how to improve it, how to plan. The plan, do, check, act. It's a simple, from the ISO 14,000 checklist. So you're going to plan what you're doing, make sure that you're doing it, and do it. That's the number one thing. So this I'd like to add to the toolbox. You know, we want companies to make sure that they're doing their LCA. That life chain analysis is just everything. We're going to see if they're looking to get ISO certification. I want to see if we can apply for grants, or if we can even offer a grant to businesses to offset either a tax break or something like that. That has to be done at a different level. We can't really do it here. And to develop these standards and practices to educate the public on circularity. We are developing a library already. Most of this is already online. ISO 14,000 is an international standard that's easily applied for, very difficult to keep. So then we want to award and recognize these local businesses, and we want to promote Sebastian as a ISO circular city. We look at what's coming in, how it's coming in, and how it's being used, and how it's going out. And that's really what it's really all about. And in the end, it should increase the ROI, the return on investment for businesses and for the city of Sebastian. And that's the first part of it. So educate is the first leg of the triad here. The second leg would be legislate. That's basically going to be if we're going to go ahead and work on writing up a ban for plastics in general and how that's going to work. It's like a two-edged sword. It's working, it's not working. But again, I don't ban anything, but I'm not going to ban the ban either. We need every resource at our disposal. So I'd like to ask the city council, with your motion tonight, to start writing up the same ban as the city of Palm Beach. We can use them as a template. So we're going to educate with LCA. We're going to legislate, whether it's a ban or not. It's already out there. Palm Beach is doing it. And we're going to litigate. What I'd like to do is have permission to ask up the ladder, wherever it stops at, is to enjoin the lawsuits in New York State and Connecticut against the oil companies and the plastic companies PepsiCo in general, and there's a lot of different plastic companies out there. It may or may not really lead to anything, but the state of New York is suing them right now. They're holding PepsiCo financially responsible for the environmental damage. Where that comes from is that when we go out there and pick up this plastic garbage, we're out there picking up 600-700 pounds a time. And that's just us. That's just these people in this little room. So state of New York has kind of made the same thing, the Buffalo River up there, like our Indian River. Our Indian River Lagoon, it's a good analogy. I like to enjoin their lawsuit. I like to enjoin the Attorney General, Letitia James, and wherever it goes, hold them financially responsible for environmental damage, require PepsiCo and plastic companies to adopt alternatives to single-use packaging. Excuse me, I need a drink. Ran out of drink there.
Excuse me,
And
Charles, you have 2 minutes left.
Thank you, sir. And force PepsiCo and plastic companies in general, the red cup people, to add labels to their products warning consumers about the environmental impact of plastic. This lawsuit is considered a potential test case to see if other states will enjoin and use similar arguments to hold companies accountable for their plastic pollution. So the extended producer responsibility comes into play there. So a lot of this we can introduce when they sign up for their licenses. A lot of this has to be done through our attorney here. So I would like permission and a motion to present this to the city council and to move it up the board and to ask that they join in educating, legislating, and litigating the plastic pollution that's really a scourge on our lagoon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Charles. Okay, we have a motion. Would anyone like to make a motion that we allow Charles to address the city council on this matter?
Can I ask a question first before
Yes.
we go that far? I think that this is an awful lot for us to swallow in one 10-minute section. And I think that I definitely see where you're going with this, and I agree with what you're saying. But I think that when you're going to hit the council with this, we definitely have to have a little bit more discussion about the steps to go. And as far as litigation, especially, I don't think they're going to be real happy about going to that level. So I think as a board, we all have to agree what steps we're going to do before you present something to council.
Yeah, one of the questions I had, Charles, was, what can the city do, especially in the environment of the state of Florida to begin with? And whose responsibilities is each step? Who is the licensing people that actually give the licenses to the business? Is it the city? Is it the county? Is it the state? Where does that jurisdiction lie to impose restrictions on a business?
Both are good questions. The answer to first, Ms. Ware, we've been working on this issue for quite a while now, and some of the issues that we've presented are already at the forefront. A lot of the work is already done. The projects that we're working on to move forward, I really can't do much more by myself because I have to ask the city attorney, I have to go to the city manager, and that's the permission I'm asking for at this point, to put the package together properly and to start going up the channels. But I can't go knocking on people's doors without the permission, and that's really what we're looking for tonight. Also to start heading out the door to be able to talk to other legislators. I kind of need permission to do that as well, not so much, but it's still part of the rules out there. I can't even go into the Indian River County building and talk to them in there without violating something. And to answer Tom's question, what would we be doing? The first set of licensing is an occupational license. And it's basically, right now, it's like a 3-page thing that you come into the office and you fill out, one for Sebastian, one for Vero Beach, and one for Indian River County. And that'll allow you to work in the county. And that's basically what I have right now. I have a county license. And then we can just add right in there, does your business do an LCA? Or we give them the business canvas page, just that one page. This is an LCA. We would like to introduce this to you. I don't want to make you have to comply to do this, but this is how we're thinking in this area. And if you don't at least expose them at that time and say, have you done an LCA? Have you filled out this one page? And just make them aware that this is even out there. You only get one chance to do it. It's when they do their licensing. That's local. When you step up the ladder, DBPR, Department of Business and Professional Regulation, is the watchdog here in Florida. The vast majority of all your professional licenses do a DBPR license. Without that, you're just not doing any business in the state of Florida. You don't get your fictitious name. You don't get permission really to do business. At that point, a DBPR, like a real estate broker, has to do a small application. It's 4 or 5 pages. Right at that state level, if I go through the channels and I'm starting at the bottom, going through wherever I got to go through, I can put this life cycle analysis in the DPR paperwork and have every single corporation in Florida do a life cycle analysis on their business, at least making them aware to create value that people will buy into, that's going to be a benefit to, first, their business, obviously, to the community at large. And then in the end, we don't have to worry about if we have boats stuck in the lagoon that we're having to dig out ourselves at taxpayer dollars, or if we have waste treatment plants of gypsum deep water wells that are always going to be left over in other counties, or even some dump sites we have a Superfund site here in Indian River County. And, it would have been real nice for that company to have some extended responsibility to have to clean their mess up in the end. That's really where I was going with that. And I got to start out here because that's the way this program works.
So Charles, what I'm gathering is that really the first step really should be with the city attorney.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so if everyone agrees, if someone give me a motion to allow Charles to contact the city attorney and go over his plan with the city attorney first before going to any elected officials, I think that's what we have to do.
Can I also, staff has a suggestion as well. Perhaps, Charles, maybe instead of making it for the board to make a motion to go directly to the city attorney, Charles, why don't you put together the steps that you're foreseeing are necessary, the things you would be discussing with the city attorney, and then whoever else thereafter, bring it back to the board for discussion. Because now that they've heard your presentation, now everybody's got this question of, well, what are these steps? What exactly does this look like moving forward? So create a packet of information that you would be carrying to the city attorney, let's say, bring it back to the board, let everybody discuss it. If anybody has any feedback, then maybe you can do a revision and then move forward from there.
Well, I don't really have anything more to add than what I have right now without legal advice. Everything that you see what I've got going on, everybody knows what's happening out there. I don't have enough to go any further without the attorneys. All I'm going to give them is exactly what I have here. So what I'd like to do is go from, literally, if they were still open, I'd go from this room to that room. And that's really what I'm looking to do, is to bring in consultation at a higher level and bring it back to the board if we have to, before we go to the city council with it. It may be a couple of more meetings, 2 or 3
Mr. Stettleman,
meetings.
so as I was hearing your presentation and what you're asking the board to make a motion of, is that first step is that you would like to put a packet together that through the Sebastian businesses, you would like to hand them this information packet that'll help them review their business practices regarding to single-use plastics. But it's a blanket motion that you're asking the board to make because they haven't seen your packet unless the packet is going to be your PowerPoint presentation. But I think there's a lot more that you can add to that packet. And I think the city will maybe be able to accommodate that through the building department. You're able to get a list of the new businesses each month that you could mail, the board could mail this out to those new businesses. But you're asking the board to kind of give you a blanket motion to, is it just your PowerPoint presentation? Or we were suggesting that maybe you put together your packet, bring it back so that the board can see it, and then they can make a motion that says, yes, this is what we would like to have the, I'm not sure that you need the attorney at this point to hand out that packet, more through the city manager. Of course, review it, but then go through your steps of the rest, how you'd like to reach out to the county and some of those other steps. But you're asking the board right now to do kind of a blanket motion, and they're not quite sure yet what you would be handing out to the businesses.
I can understand that, and, did I answer your question?
Yes, yes.
Ms. Ware? Yes. I can definitely understand that. One of the things that I have is I won't know how to put together that exactly for when they're here. It'll be just going back and forth from that time. See, right now, the only thing I want to put in there is that business canvas model, just the one page that we did. It says everything, one single page. That life cycle analysis, that's done. And that comes right out of ISO 14000. There's nothing I can really change on it.
Charles,
And that's a standard.
can I ask that one
Yes,
form,
please.
is that something that you could provide when you come back to show us what they're going to be filling out?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that would be helpful, I think, to,
And see, there's three parts to this. It isn't just it's such a large problem, and it really overwhelmed me. One of my issues, just with myself, is I'll underestimate the problem. So I'm always like, we can do it, but it comes from living here and watching them launch men to the moon, and we can do anything. And but this plastic issue is a lot more than that. So what I want to do is I want to start the process with the city attorney. That way, when I come back here, the next thing I have is I have what we're going to do for litigation, what we're going to do for education, and what we're going to do for legislation, but done through the attorney. And this way, we can all look at it. We can actually vote on what we're doing. I just want permission to start going up the ladder from here. And sometimes my ideas don't work out. And if we want to stop it here, it's fine. Everybody who's worked with me knows that's the way I work. But I think that this problem is a tough one. We need everything that we can bring to bear, and then this is all I got. So, but I would like permission to start with the city attorney and city manager's office at that level. Put the package together, come back to the board. If we can do it by next month, great, because we kind of run out of time here. It takes us so long to do stuff, so that's why I wanted to go up to the next level. Is there any additional questions?
I do have
Yes, sir.
a couple of
Go ahead.
questions, and it's kind of presumptuous of me as
No,
my
go
first
ahead.
meeting
Jump right in.
as a
That's what you're here for.
board. I'm a fan of not surprising elected officials and sort of approaching them from the perspective of that we are seeking their feedback. That gives them an opportunity to say, well, I like this piece, but I'm not too comfortable about this one. They might have a significant different level of enthusiasm. You have worked on this a great deal, and you articulate it really well. But I just think that not surprising elected officials is a good way. I might approach them and saying, when the time comes that you're seeking feedback, and let them have their say, their concerns. And the other thing is, I would say that it's tentative. If the city council or the city attorney is rigorously in opposition, we want to give ourselves a little bit of leeway. And then the last piece is, I don't know that I would stress litigation. That really for many people. I agree with you to educate the public. I'm with you on that, and I'm actually with you about legislating and saying, here's what other states are doing, or here's what other, communities are doing. But I don't think I'd stress the litigation piece. That's I think the city attorney's the person who's probably gonna end up doing that, and that'll probably, change them a little bit, so. Those are my
That's
thoughts.
great input. It's Mr. Kraus?
Yes,
Thank you very much. Do you have anything else to add to that?
no, that's plenty.
Oh, no,
don't
I
need to-
greatly appreciate that. So about surprising the elected officials and going to them and getting their opinion, one of the things we can't do here, we can't go to them.
Right.
Like, everything that you see I've done here, I basically, with the help of the office, is been basically done by me.
Right.
And, that's why we broke it up in all different ways. Whoop, good thing, I got a loud enough voice. Thank you. We can't approach, like, I can't call Donna and say, hey, Donna, what do you think about this? You know, and I can't, and even though if I have a real issue, part of our protocol is the door is open to the mayor's office. The Mayor Dodd says, call me. And so it's not that it's closed, it's just, we just not allowed to, and it's, leaves us open to litigation. So I have to go through these channels,
Yep.
or I'd already be knocking on their door. So I try not to surprise them, but I do see what you're saying about that. Surprising the elected officials is not a good thing. And, sometimes they do watch these meetings, but I have to go through these channels and ask for permission from the board to actually go and surprise them. And they actually put up a door for me. There's a door in there called the Charles door. Keeps me from swinging it out. And the litigation part, I appreciate you liking the legislation and at least going to the elected officials. The litigation part, that's really where the hammer comes in. It's when businesses who are making $500 million a year and choose not to do anything, not to help us out. Sebastian, each individual taxpayer here is lucky to be able to pay $1,500 a year for taxes. And I'm fighting against an oil company that's made more money than ever in the history of any businesses ever, and they're not putting in anything to clean this mess up. I don't see them out here in the Indian River Lagoon picking up 600 pounds at a time. So I'm using it as everything that I can put on the table, actually. And I do like the idea that if for some reason we get a lot of pushback, that it just looks like it's not going to happen, then we can stop it at any time. But until I get to that level, I don't even know what I'm really doing. I'm just putting out what I can, trying to take us to the next level, and bring you back a package that's been done by the attorney with the advice of the city manager's office that we can present to the city council in a articulate manner that they don't have to go picking through it. That's really what I'm looking to do tonight. And I hope that answered your question, though, Mr. Kraus.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I have another one for you.
Yes, Ms. Ware, go right ahead.
Okay, so I understand where you're going with this, and I really do appreciate the effort that goes into this. And we're behind you. I think that the problem is this is a very big problem, and I think we need to break it down into baby steps. And I think that the board would probably be happy to give you a motion to say, I think that life cycle analysis thing is fantastic. I think that Sebastian should be able to encourage the business world to fill out something like that and to educate them when they're coming into the city. And then after we get to that step, then we go to the next step. I think that you just can't put it all in one big package and expect anybody to appreciate the end product. So that's where I feel.
Oh, and I feel you too. I feel your pain. I'm feeling it. One of the things you got tonight was kind of an abbreviated version. I actually have a little bit longer version that would have gone through it a lot. I'm trying to comply with the clock without sapping it. And everybody here knows what a sapper is, right? And for those who don't, they're the ones who basically make things not work. And, but I'm trying to comply. So the three things that I need to do actually are all being done at the same time. The legislation is being done already. The litigation is really being done by another state. I'm just looking to either join in that or find our own litigation to do, because I'm really tired of picking up all this plastic. And the education, which the LCA is going to be hard. It's going to be harder than really what I'm saying, because we have to add it into this package when they do their licensing. So it's actually going to be really hard. So I'm trying to start out at the bottom, right here with you guys, to see if I can push on this, and if I can take it to the next level, to the city attorney, to the city manager's office, and to put the LCA together. We pretty much have already done that through the city manager's office. So it's only one page, you've already seen it. The litigation is strictly going to be through the city attorney's office, and if the city council wants to do that. And the legislation, you know, really the ban, it's working and it's not working. But I don't want to not have the nuclear option. You know, if I need to push these companies back from poisoning us, then I need every option. And that's what I'm asking for tonight. And at any time we can put the brakes on it, like you're saying, Ms. Ware, or pick and choose. Maybe not everything's going to make it to the finish line, but I would like to take everything out the gate, and because most of this is really already done, and the ban's already written up. There's only one way to do it. It's not even going to really work, because they ban stuff and they start buying even more plastic. So I don't know how that's going to happen, but I need all the options on the table, and I need to be able to talk to the city council about this too, because I haven't even been able to talk to them to see if they're interested in a ban or if they're interested in doing litigation. I haven't been able to talk to anybody about this because of the processes that we do here. So I'm kind of stuck until I get permission to go up the ladder. And anytime, if it looks like we can't do it, you know how I am. I'm willing to do something, and if it can't be done, it's not going to be done. But
Felicia, you want to say something?
Yes, I do, actually. I think that we really need to be extremely cognizant of how we move forward in everything that you've discussed. Education is probably the simplest and easiest thing to do. You know, when we're talking about something as big as what you're suggesting, you know, we got to kind of, you know, take this one bite at a time, because there are so many layers to this, and the way the city moves and presents itself and acts within not only our small community, but at the, you know, within the larger community. You know, we have to be cognizant of what we're putting out there and how we're going to make a difference, because, you know, we could try for a ban, but there are other cities or municipalities within the state of Florida that are coming into issues because they're putting forth bans. And yes, we could model it after, you know, one municipality or another, but we may run into, you know, issues with the state itself if we're not careful. And that's something we would have to seriously consider. Litigation, I can only imagine the can of worms that we'd be opening going into that. And I think that there's a lot more to this than, you know, you could say, you know, education, legislation, and litigation, but I think it's a lot more to each piece than simply, you know, those three words. And I think education may be the best, easiest way for us to tackle this issue, to talk to people about circularity, to talk to people how if we move towards a circular environment and encourage more of that sort of thing within our community, that may be the most helpful approach, and also maybe the most manageable, because what this board is capable of doing, you know, we could, you know, you can put all your effort into it, but, you know, we can't burn ourselves out trying to achieve, you know, like, you know, litigation or whatever goals there might be. So I think there, you know, I certainly appreciate your interest in taking it even to that level, but I think we have to kind of take a step back, think about what does this encompass in its entirety, bless you. And, yeah, let's take this one piece at a time, I think. And that's just
I
my
appreciate
suggestion.
that. What I'd like to, how I'd like to answer that is, I'd like to take those pieces, but with legal advice. I don't want to come back to this board without the actual words I need to say to keep it going or to not keep it going. The litigation is comparable to, everybody's seen the tobacco litigation, right? This is what plastics is going to end up. This is the template that how this litigation is going to end up. It's going to end up like a tobacco settlement. It's going to end up like a Monsanto settlement, where billions of dollars are paid out for damages that they never really fess up to. And I'd like to, if we're not the first city to litigate against that, the first in Florida, I would like to at least get an opinion, but I can't ask the city council and I can't ask the attorney where to go with this, and they actually give you an answer. Is it really hard to do what we're doing? Are we opening a can of worms? Or can we join with their litigation and support what they're doing without really opening up a can of worms? But I want these companies to know first that they're responsible for this mess.
Okay,
You know?
I have to say right now, we spent 45 minutes on this issue, and I really think that with Earth Day coming next month, that none of us feel comfortable with going to this step right now. So I think maybe you should.
Maybe, sorry,
actually,
I don't
hold on
mean
a
to
second.
interrupt,
Okay,
but
hold on.
I think maybe we put it to a vote. And I would like to add just my point here in saying, I admire the scope, I admire what you're trying to do. I do have significant concerns with my name being put onto something where I don't know what's going to be said in the meetings. And so, as Donna and as Dory mentioned, I think it's really important for us to have an outline. The PowerPoint is one thing, but there were there were statements made that I would not be comfortable saying that I would sign my name onto that as being true. One thing I can come up with is, you know, the Superfund site. The Superfund site was litigated, it was cleaned up, it has been monitored, and I think that it's unfair to say. So it is extremely important when you get into scientific arguments that you have the evidence and you have the sources. And I think that I would not be comfortable putting my name onto something until I knew exactly what was going to go into that literature and what was going to go into those business, out to those businesses.
But there is a Superfund site here.
Absolutely.
And it's being monitored.
Yes.
That means it was super polluted. I don't know if everybody knows that, but this thing is super polluted.
But Charles, it has been addressed and it has been cleaned. I think you have to go through all the
Well, it
literature.
hasn't been cleaned. It's being monitored. It's spreading.
No.
It does. It spreads. That's
Okay,
why they monitor.
let's,
All right.
can anybody on the board give me a motion of what you would like to vote on tonight?
Well, there is a motion on the table right now to take it. I need an opinion by the attorney to bring anything back. I'm pretty much at my max. I don't know what else to bring you guys. That's it. That's all I got. We've been working on this for 3 years. You guys have come in at the end of the 3-year program. We've been working on Sustainable Sebastian for 3 years. Single-use plastics is the #1 issue on it. It isn't like we just came up with
So
this.
just to speed this up a little bit, I would be willing to make a motion to say that I give my support for you to go and start a conversation about the process. I don't think that the motion should include all those steps. I think we should start with step 1, which is life LCA, and then we'll work our way up the steps. Because you're trying to accomplish too much in one fell swoop. And I think that I, as a member of the board, will say, I'm very comfortable with you opening the door. Start with that step. Don't start with, oh, I'm going to go into litigation, and I'm not comfortable with that. So my motion is, I would like to make the motion that Charles open the door to this discussion with the city by going to either the lawyer's office or the city planner's office and start a conversation about this. If you want to have a workshop, that's fine. But that's what my motion is.
Does anybody second that motion?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 All against?
All against?
Nay. And Charles, it is not because I
Oh,
don't
no,
trust
no,
you.
it's 4-2.
It is
Or-
simply because I don't know what you're going to say to the city attorney.
Well, that's just it. I don't know what I'm gonna say either. I gotta start it out.
And that's
And
why
then
I
he's
can't-
gonna tell me what I can say.
Okay.
I don't really know what I can and can't legally say. That's really all I need to know, is what can I say?
But Charles, you'll be representing the board.
Absolutely, taking exactly what Donna just said, opening the door to what I had just spoke about, and taking it from there. I'd like to get some advice from this point on. That's really what I'm looking to do. And if he says no, no, no to everything, then guess what? You're probably not going to hear about this again. But if it looks like city attorney says yay, the city manager says yay, then I'm going to ask for permission to go to the city council with a real packet that's been done by an attorney.
But is what you want them to say yay, yay, or nay, nay to is just your PowerPoint presentation?
No,
'Cause that's
no,
all you've
the
shown to the board.
LCA going into, I can only do what Donna opened the door for. I just need to be able to talk to them about the LCA first, the life cycle analysis, and then we'll take it from there. That's all.
Okay, let's finish the vote. Sharita?
I say no.
Okay, so we have 4 yeas, 2 nays. The motion carries.
Thank you. If we can set that appointment at the convenience.
There should be a vote for 7.
Did you vote, Tom?
Oh, I abstained.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, whenever you can set that appointment, that's convenient for everybody, we'll get that process rolling. I promise I won't embarrass us, and I won't put us out there, but I'm looking to bring everything we got, and this is everything we got. Thank you for that, I appreciate that. I appreciate the lively debate on that issue, and it's a good thing that we can debate these issues, and it's not a matter of disagreeing, it's a matter of taking into account what everybody says and making what they say make it better what you're trying to do, because they're trying to make it better. Everybody here is trying to make it better, and that's what we're going to find. All right, let's move on to...
And with that, Charles, I turn the chairmanship back over to you.
Thank you, sir. I need something to drink again. Okay, we'll move on to item A, number 2, native landscaping. Ms. Spillman, if you'd like to address the board.
Well, the only thing that's really happened is we have made arrangements to meet with the butterfly nursery to do a meeting at Garden Club Park, and that will be in April, Monday the 12th. So we're meeting with other members of the city at the site, and we're going to discuss the layout, the cost, the whole ball of wax, if you will, as to getting the ball going up there with plants and so forth. They will put up a presentation for us with the landscaping ideas, the plant selection, the whole scope of what would be involved as far as the planting goes. The other thing that I talked to Felicia about earlier today was, well, right now, winter is not the best time for any plants in Florida or anywhere in the country, really, for the most part. So right now, it's like the native plants are not thriving, they're not pretty, they're just sort of dormant and waiting for spring to come. And so I suggested that there are a couple places here in the neighborhoods that have nice native landscaping and lawns and so forth, that kind of show that alternative to what happens. It's not going to be beautiful all year long. There are slope times for all sorts of plantings. So, and I'm sure we could go by and look at those, because it is a good indicator of what to expect. It's not going to be a lush botanical garden by any stretch of the imagination, what we're doing. So there's a lot to go into it, a lot of planning, maintenance. There's a lot to it, so we'll see how it goes next month.
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Billman?
I have a quick question. So, when you were talking about all the garden club, plans, and then the homes that you would want to visit afterwards, is your intent to create a list of homes that is almost like a native garden tour that people are able to go to, or?
No, I've just come across several residents in Sebastian that have kind of done that transition from like a turf yard to a native landscaping with, you know, the ground covers and so forth that are weeds, but they are native plants. And so they've incorporated, they're taking all the turf out, the sod and all that, and they're turning it over and putting in like larger trees or shrubs and plants of varying heights, and just bringing all that native plant growth into their yards, sort of going back to the way it could have been, but being more maintained to their liking. So there's a couple homes just up here in the Highlands that I know personally that are doing that now. So there's probably others. But just for the board to go kind of look at it and to see what we're talking about, I'll be glad to share that information with you. And the homeowner, he'd be more than happy. I'm sure I can give him a heads up. If people want to come by and talk or look at it, that would be fine, I'm sure. So.
The reason I asked is just because I feel like that might be something interesting to try and set up for the public as well, in terms of having almost like an education and kind of real world scenarios as to what these native gardens can look like year round. People can drive past them. I'm sure we would have to get homeowner approval. And, you know, respecting the privacy of the homeowner. However, I'm sure that many people would be willing to show off what they have. And, yeah, I don't know how we could advertise that, or if it's probably too soon to do anything with Earth Day and kind of advertising the
Right, well, what we
garden
can
tour,
also
but-
do is maybe reach out to, like Nikki Monroe, and she has maybe some installations I know that she's helped with. The Audubon Society is probably another good one that can give us some examples of that type of plantings.
Sure, yeah. And I think it's just nice to show it within Sebastian as well. I've seen many of those gardens, but I think having it local and right
Well,
down the street.
I just know of two personally.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure there's
Gotcha.
more.
Gotcha, okay.
Is there any additional questions for Ms. Billman? We're going to be working on the landscaping ordinances coming up. Are we getting ready for all that? Because I thought we were going to be working on that a little bit more this year.
Are you transitioning into the next item then, Charles? Sorry.
Well, no, I just wanted to ask a question. Oh, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, Ms. Billman was native landscaping. Number 3 is tree protection and landscaping ordinances with Mr. Carano. I apologize for that, yes.
Okay, at our last meeting, we decided we're going to put this off until after our event in April.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Is there any questions for that right now, for tree protection and landscaping ordinances? We're going to be doing it after Earth Day then?
After Earth Day.
Okay. Excellent. Is there anything we can do to prepare for that, Mr. Carano, do you think?
No, I think I have quite a bit of information. It just needs to be all put together, and I need to get by tax season too.
It's just everybody's really, when they do email me or text me or something, you guys know I get letters from time to time, they're always saying about how the trees are being cut down. And for me, it's one of the most important things. Between my lagoon being polluted and my trees being cut down, it's just wiping me out. So when we get to that, that's going to be as lively as plastic pollution. All right, let's move on. Is there any other questions for Mr. Carano?
Thomas, I would like to ask you one. With the trees that are being cut down and with the new homeowners taking the trees out that have been planted to replace them, is that part of what you're doing too, addressing that?
It's a problem because once the developer cuts the trees down without permits and puts those little trees are no longer regulated.
Really?
Because they're not of a size to be regulated.
I thought that they had to be of a certain size in order for them to get approval from the building department.
They may count, and you can jump in anytime you want, Felicia.
Right, so to explain a little bit about the process, so as staff, we'll go out, we'll inspect a lot for a land clearing inspection, see how many trees there are, if they're gonna retain any at all. If they don't retain trees, or if they still have to fill up trees to meet their minimum, they plant the new trees. The new trees that they plant are either going to be based on the size for our standard protected tree, which is 8 feet tall and 1.5 inches in diameter, or based on our requirements for replacements for our specimen tree, which are 12 feet tall and 2.5 inches in diameter. Now, the thing is, the status of what a protected tree is doesn't start until you reach 4 inches in diameter, which means that those trees at 2.5 inches in diameter still technically don't qualify as protected trees. And everybody still has to meet the minimum requirement of trees on their lot. But
Prior to receiving a certificate of occupancy or whatever.
Exactly. So that
once
happens,
that is issued,
They take them out.
that's
yes,
right.
That's where our issue lies.
That's the problem.
Yes, that is a problem,
And
and it's a very difficult,
my big
it's
concern.
a difficult thing to work around legally.
I think something else to consider if you're putting together ideas for a new ordinance is, it's the type, what's in the code right now, it says that you can have, 10,000 square foot lot needs 7 trees for your CO. You certainly can do 7 trees of all the same, or it does state that you can only have up to 35% can be palm trees. You can have up to 25% can be citrus trees. So out of those 7 trees, you could have 2 citrus trees, you could have 3 palm trees, and then you can plant 2 canopy trees. I think some of the larger contractors are getting some good wholesale deals from the, the tree farms on Route 60 and 70, and they're coming in and planting 7 pine trees. And no new owner coming in wants 7 pine trees, they're going to take those down. Or there's a house that I saw that they literally put all 7 oak trees in the backyard, which fit right now, but 7 trees
They
in the
won't fit,
backyard
right.
is not gonna work. So maybe some guidelines too of a percentage or a mix of trees. People always come in and say, what kind of trees can I plant to replace? If you have a specific plant material that you think works best for this zone and area, would help to put into a new ordinance.
And something that Dory drew attention to is the location. Oftentimes, when you go to a new lot that the developer has put in new trees, they're in really not fantastic locations for the trees themselves, because eventually that tree will grow in size and will end up interfering with the foundation or another concrete structure on the lot. And that will present a problem later down the line for whoever that homeowner is when that time comes, but it doesn't present any issues for the contractor, and therefore they get their CO and they move on.
Yes, let me tell you, it's not easy. One, the lots here are very small. I know most of you think 10,000 square feet is large. No, in New York, I was dealing with 40 and 80,000 square foot lots. 10,000 square feet, you don't have a lot of room to put anything of any size anywhere. You can't put a tree on the side lot because as they get bigger, now they're a danger to the house. You can't put them in the front yard because that's where your septic is located in your leaching field. Okay, that leaves you the rear yard. Most people have some sort of easement in the rear yard for drainage purposes, and trees don't like to be wet all the time unless you're using wetland species. It's not an easy task.
So, Mr.
Go
Chairman,
ahead, sir.
so can I just ask Tom, so the staff mentioned several things that make a lot of sense. I mean, they have a lot of expertise and, sort of the workarounds that
Well, the developers have a lot of workarounds to
Yeah.
get rid of the trees once the CO is issued, all bets are off.
So, I mean, this subject has some interest to me, and I think I'd be interested in seeing what kind of suggestions when the time comes after Earth Day, how we might tighten that up a little bit or make suggestions. I get it. Once the trees go in, the lot's sold, then somebody decides, get rid of those trees. But, that's where the education piece comes in, and that's where the encouragement comes in, and if necessary, some other options or choices that maybe some of the staff have, could offer.
Right, one of the hard things about a code is it has to be enforceable and it has to make sense.
Yeah.
So, we have some ideas and the board will be aware of them and as they're written.
Yay. Fantastic. Thanks everybody for the input. Is there any additional questions for Mr. Carano on tree protection and landscaping ordinances? We'll be taking that up after Earth Day. Okay, not hearing or seeing any. Then we'll move on to item 4, resource conservation with Miss Donna Ware.
Thank you. Okay, so basically, I've reached out to a couple of other cities and counties and I'm collecting different pieces of information for them for their outreach program. And right now, I found several one-sheet information facts, one for energy savings, water savings, climate solutions, planting trees, and energy consumption. So I have sent another email back to that particular contact in Sarasota County and asked for permission that we can take what they've done and revamp it for our own needs. But I think that I have a pretty good start on this. And that's all I have to say for now, and I hope we can move through the rest of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ware. Greatly appreciate that. Any questions for Ms. Ware? Okay, not seeing any. We'll move on to item 5, green infrastructure and low impact development with Dr. Mosblack.
This past month, actually, I will admit it actually was in March, just a couple of days ago. But I did get to 3 more parks. I visited the Cheltenham Park, which is pretty much a very large kind of freshwater pond that the swales and canals lead to. Garden Club Park I visited, and then Barber Street Sports Complex. So I won't go into everything because of the Earth Day plans, but I did recognize with Garden Street Park, I know that Sharita had mentioned a couple months ago about how it just kind of blends into the home, and the map, I wasn't even comfortable with going into that little back area. I wanted to mention to you. So there are some concerns there. I think I have about 4 or 5 more to visit, and then I think we can meet and chat and see where we go from there. So, yeah.
Thank you, Nikki, for going out and doing those visits. It's going to be a great help, especially having the photographs is going to be wonderful for creating the cut sheets.
Is there any assistance you need with anything going into that?
No, unless you can somehow figure out a way that I don't have to sleep. Then I'll be good. No, I'm good. Thank you, though.
Woo. Okay, is there any questions from anybody on item 5, green infrastructure and low impact development for Dr. Mosblack? Thank you for visiting all those places. It is a lot of work. Okay, we'll go into the last, is Ms. Hagerty, is she online? It's sidewalks and bikeways.
I'm here.
All right.
All right. But I honestly haven't been from what I understand, there isn't much needed for that, and what I've really been working on is Earth Day stuff. So
Okay.
I don't have much to tell you about sidewalks today.
Well, you work with Felicia and the staff at the city to get anything done with sidewalks, because it's, like you say, it's cement and work to be done. Any questions for anybody for Ms. Haggerty? Ms. Haggerty, do you have any questions while you're here?
You know what, I did have a question, and that was, I know you guys went to that meeting with the county. Remember, it was like a while back, and they sort of were dealing with the sidewalk stuff too.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And what was so were they going to add to our sidewalk here?
So I can chime in on that.
I just adopted this. I just adopted this goal. So I honestly haven't done that much research into what our plan is next.
Right. I can fill you in on all of that information, what we gleaned from those previous meetings, Sarah. For the most part, the beginning of those meetings and the interactions and the workshops that the county has held for the, their master
Improvement
planning.
plans? Yeah.
Yes.
Their improvement planning?
Yeah, so this is all fairly, at least at the time, it was fairly preliminary. They were trying to get feedback from the municipalities, understanding where the needs are, if there were any particular areas that they had to be concerned about, any reasons why those areas were of particular need, and things of that nature. And then they did host a few public workshops, which were to get feedback from the public as to the locations that, they felt were necessary.
We don't have to take a deep dive.
Yeah, we can
So
certainly
we can
discuss
do
this
Earth
later
Day
if
stuff
you'd
today.
like.
Thank you very much, Ms. Agerty and Felicia, thank you. And, sidewalks just aren't easy. You're dealing with easements and everything else. Any additional questions about that issue, sidewalks and bikeways? All right, we'll leave that subject now. From item A, we'll move on to item B, our favorite Earth Day and Arbor Day celebration. Yay, for Saturday, April 20th, 2024. And Ms. Gordian, you want to update us or take it away?
Yes, thank you, Charles. So in your agenda packet, you'll find the most recent updated version of the history of the Natural Resources Board that we will post at our booth during the Earth Day event as part of the centennial celebration and discussing the history of Sebastian. It was the beginning of the Pelican Island National Wildlife Refuge was included, and that was the most significant change to that. And if there's no other comments for that, then we'll lock that in and we'll use that for the day of the event. And if there are no other concerns, I'll move forward to our seed packet workday. Tentatively, we will have the seed packet workday on March 13th from 3 to 4 p.m. unless there are any significant conflicts. This day is for all the board members to get together and help produce the seed packets that we will be distributing. We will have the Sustainable Sebastian stamp for the seed packets, the little labels that say this packet contains native wildflower seeds, and of course the seeds themselves. We would be gathering at the Arts Center to conduct this workday.
Felicia, can I have that date again?
March 13th.
And what time?
3 to 4.
3 to 4?
And just to clarify, the Art Center is right over there on the other side of the historical school.
And I understand that there may be some of you who may not be able to make it, but if as many of you can get together as possible, it would be greatly appreciated. And I'll send out an official invite for the date. And we will be giving notice, for the meeting. So if you may happen to see members of the public pop in and say, oh, what are you doing? So.
Felicia, just let you know, I'll be out of town that day.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, Earth Day is our big celebration. We want everybody on the board to be there. If you can't, remember, family and work does come first, but we need everybody there. It is a big day for us. We start at about 5:30 in the morning, laying the place out. And we're there until everything's picked up. So it's a big day for everybody. Is there anything that you need outstanding? Like, do we got the food trucks lined up and vendors?
I did want to go over some more information about the event.
Okay, got it.
So that was just kind of the information that we needed to make sure we got out of the way. So please, if you have any organizations or any other vendors that you have in mind that you'd like to see come to the event this year, please share with them our information. There's a Facebook post about it, so please feel free to share that Facebook post as much as possible. The information's on our city website as well. So please feel free to share all of that. We do have plenty of room, and there are applications that have come in that I haven't yet had an opportunity to address, but we have pretty decent numbers as of right now, but we still will have room even once I do address those applications. So please, feel free to solicit. But we have over 20 nonprofits and over 20 vendors based on what I've already approved. So we're doing really well. We still have some room for food trucks, but we do have a few prospectives that are interested. So we're hoping to receive those applications soon. But if there's anybody in mind that that you would like to see attend, of course, please let me know, and we can discuss if they fit with what food vendors we already have, because we don't really necessarily want duplicates. So, Sharna.
Felicia, did you talk to like Woody's Barbecue? Because I saw them, they had a truck at one of the events about a month or two ago, and they were pretty good. I mean, the prices were pretty reasonable and stuff, and they were busy. So, but they do cater, so I think they had the food truck.
What was the name of the?
Just Woody's Barbecue.
Oh, Woody's, okay.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
I'll look into it and see if we can find their contact info to reach out to them.
Felicia, I have a question.
Of course.
Is there a fee for the nonprofits?
There's no fee for any of the vendors.
Any vendor?
I work with one that may be interested.
Okay.
If for nothing else, I can recruit some more volunteers.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I just have a question. There are two sites on Earth Day, right? One down at Riverview Park, and the other one is up at the top of the hill?
No, there's just one site at the Riverview Park, and,
I can probably provide some clarification.
go
as to
ahead.
what I think you might be referring to the waste management, shredding, and recycling event. So for the event, there will be I believe it's the household waste and electronic waste. That will be held at the Barber Street Sports Complex, and they'll also be collecting bicycles, which will be partnering with the Bike Walk of Indian River County to collect bicycles to help support their program. At the Cavcor parking lot adjacent to Riverview Park is where the other portion of the waste management event will be, and that'll be the paper shredding and that sort of thing. So I hope that answers your question.
So, actually, I wanted to see both sites during the day, just to get a feel for, what's happening at each location, and any ideas or suggestions.
That's
So,
perfect. That's our volunteer that runs over there during the day.
Absolutely. If you don't mind, if you're there with us during the majority of the day, but if you took some time during the 9 to 12 window of the waste management event, then you could, go to Barber Street Sports Complex, see how they're doing, check up on Bike Walk, because they will have somebody stationed there during that period. So I can send you all the information, and I believe the waste management buck slips, the advertisements for the event should be coming out fairly shortly. So I will send those to you as soon as they're available. And I will make sure the board has those buck slips as well.
all right, thank you very much. Appreciate it, Mr. Chairman, too.
Any additional questions?
I just wanted to add again about the poster contest, and we do have Sebastian Charter School participating again this year, and there'll be 6th, 7th, and 8th graders doing environmentally subject matter for us to judge, and we do have the fine art and music group providing the prizes for it again, so we're
All
covered.
right. Love it.
Awesome. Thank you, Donna. All right.
Any additional input?
Yes, just a few more updates.
You got it.
All right, so let's see, where are we? So we are going to have actually, Home Depot has actually agreed to host a workshop at the event, so that'll be exciting. I don't know if it may have been some time, if ever, that they've participated in the event, so that'll be quite exciting to have that kind of extensive kids workshop at the event. To reiterate, we will have the chalk art contest, hosted by the Indian River County Stormwater and Natural Resources Department, and they will be stationed over by the concrete pad near the canoe launch off of, Indian River Drive. So if anybody is like, oh, I can't find the chalk art contest, make sure, during the event that you usher them in that direction. And one point that I'd like to discuss is the scavenger hunt, and they are included on the scavenger hunt as well. If there's anything, if you'd like me to send you PDF copies of that scavenger hunt so you can read it, blow it up and read it in a different form. I do have another paper copy so you can see how it would be laid out, and I can also make larger copies. This was based off of, the copy that you should have in front of you was based off of an 11 by 17 piece of paper that cut the strips out, and that would be what we used during the Earth Day event to distribute to the participants of the scavenger hunt.
Get some more updates?
Yes. All right. We do have a good number of the participants, the vendors who have applied, offering to host, to provide goods for our raffle. So that's very exciting. And as far as the scavenger hunt goes, I've spoken to Andy with Sebastian Daly, and he's willing to sponsor the prize again for that event. Yeah.
Are we still looking for prize sponsors? Because we had Mel Fishers last year, did that great pirate coin giveaway, and Captain Harms likes to participate too.
We would certainly, I would welcome it, but of course that would be up to the board if they want to welcome more prize sponsors for the scavenger hunt besides just the grand prize.
I'm all for it. Let's vote.
The
The more prizes, the more participation, I think. So I make a motion that, yes, Charles is going to reach out to Mel Fisher.
Oh, thank you.
Charles going to reach out to every business in Sebastian and try to
No,
learn
that
things
was
from
the
them.
rest of us were coming. We were all supposed to do that as a team, remember? I'll second that motion. Can we get a aye vote for approval?
Aye.
Nay for non-approval? The ayes have it. Okay, so we're looking for some more, as many as we can get. Get the community, when I go into Captain Harms or into Mr. Fisher's museum, they just love us coming in there and asking them if they would participate. And they are really looking forward to somebody coming in and asking them, and they get kind of disappointed when we don't. So, but thank you for the opportunity. I'll make sure to honor that obligation. Okay, any other announcements like that?
Just one last thing. I don't know if I had mentioned it before about our Earth Day flyer, but you should have that in front of you as well as the flyer for the Tulip Pond project planting. If you would like digital copies of those flyers, please let me know so I can get those to you. But those should also be in your agenda packets as well as the PDF copy.
That's the agenda packet that you send us, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, all right,
Yes, it
gotcha.
is the agenda packet. Mm-hmm.
I open it up, she's like, there's 30 pages here. So no, that's just the minutes from the last meeting. Any additional comments or anybody else got anything they want to add for our Earth Day discussion? And, I hope everybody can participate. I'd like to thank everybody who's already participated. The city helps us out every year with this. This is their big day. So I want to definitely throw out a big shout out to Bubba out there. Boy, he really works hard for us. So, but thanks a lot. We greatly appreciate it. Okay, we're going to move on then. Not seeing any more comments for Earth Day. It's Saturday, April 20th, 2024. Look forward to seeing everybody there. We'll move on to number 9, new business. And item A, centennial events. And, we have a list of calendar events in the last page of our agenda. I'm pretty sure that's what this is. It is our 100-year centennial celebration this year. Got a lot going on. We're already in March. I'd like to make a couple of comments on this. March 15th through the 17th is the next big centennial celebration. It's actually the River Days Craft Brew Hullabaloo that's put on by Sebastian Rotary Club. It's a 3-day event, but it takes us all year. I'm currently president-elect at large for the local club, so that's one of the events that we deal with. Moving on from there, on April 20th, the city of Sebastian, once again, is going to do Earth Day and Arbor Day. So we're there for that. But we have something going on every month, and the city is looking for some volunteers that may be able to help out with something that's going on with the city. So I'm sure we contact Felicia if we want to volunteer for any of this. And anybody listening or anybody like that, the city would love you to volunteer and really get on board here. Craft Club is going to be out there, so we'll see you guys out there in May. Chamber of Commerce in June, that's always a great one. Concert in the Park, of course. July 4th, you got the fireworks. Again, Chamber of Commerce in August, so there's a lot of opportunities.
Sorry, you don't have to
Oh,
read
okay,
off all
right.
the events.
Gotcha.
It was more so to put it to you guys that you are welcome to volunteer. The clerk's office is looking for assistance with their booth at every event. They will, of course, as they'll be at Earth Day, and that's your baby, so you aren't required to assist them during that event. But throughout the other events during the year, they may need some extra hands on deck. And one of the great things about having a Natural Resources Board member at that event is that the tote bags that they'll be giving away have the Sustainable Sebastian logo on them. So you can explain to people all about Sustainable Sebastian and the effort that we're putting in to make Sebastian more sustainable. So it would work out very well if you had the availability to participate in any of these days. And I would just ask that you please contact me for about whichever date you'd like at your earliest convenience.
And I hate to ask again, but Rotary could definitely use any hands we could get, young, old, anything, in the morning of March 15th and definitely in the evening of the 17th. When we close for that event coming up in a week, we are wiped out. We've been there for 3 days plus a day setting up. It's hard. So if anybody can come out and volunteer to help pack up everything, be greatly appreciated. 95 cents of every dollar from Rotary goes right back to the communities we serve. Okay, any other comments on the centennial events or 100-year birthday?
Yes, I do.
Ms. Ware?
Okay, so as part of the art club, our members painted paintings of old houses, old buildings throughout Sebastian over the last 100 years. And we've been in already 2 of these events that are on this calendar. And we'll have our houses on display also on the 20th for Earth Day. But right now, currently, they're hanging in the library. And I have flyers here if any of you want to see them. And I have to tell you, it's 35 different paintings of different buildings, and it's pretty awesome. So please take the time, go into the library. The library's open every day but Sundays, so you can go in and take a look.
Wow, that's great to know.
Thanks.
So go into the library and see what the art club has done for our paintings, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Any additional comments? Is there anything that we need to talk about that we may have missed? Okay, number 10, items for the next agenda and date. Is there any items we want to put back on there? I'll be talking again, but we all talk about our number 1, our champion items anyhow, so that we're already on there. Does anybody have anything else?
I think the next meeting should really be concentrating on Earth Day and our assignments and everything like that. So I would put our champion away for now, for next month. And let's just concentrate on Earth Day and make sure we have new members, make sure we all know what we're doing, what time we're going to be there, and how that's all going to work out.
Plus, we have 2 new members that give jobs.
Did we get our gopher turtle volunteer, by the way? Yeah, remember, don't forget about that gopher turtle volunteer. All right, guys, we've had a lot of fun tonight and a very lively debate. I appreciate everybody's input. It's so important to me because, again, I get passionate about these things, and I need the guidance from everybody on the board, and I just greatly appreciate everybody being here and working so hard. If I can get a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Tom.
I'll second.
Thank you, Donna. All in favor, say aye.
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 This meeting is adjourned.